Hi everyone, this is Dave. I had this amazing video pass my way yesterday. Today is April 18th, 2018. And if you notice here, it is the Heliofont iPet Goat 2 full version in HD. This particular video, for anybody that is studying the occult, they like symbolism, you like to read symbolism and stuff, this video, well, the person that put this together knows some pretty good symbolism. They put together the story, and there's very few words in it, and they've kind of put it out. The rumor goes that they put this out in 2012, and it's interesting. When I got this forwarded to me, I basically looked at this full version before going on and looking at any interpretations. So to keep it pure, to keep yourself, if you haven't seen this and you haven't seen any interpretation, go watch the video. There's the name, search it up on Google. You'll be able to find this and watch the whole thing and play with the speed on it so you can really see things. Once you've done that, then feel free to look around at the interpretations, because different people have different interpretations of this. Mine, well, I read this from a tarot card background. I have some experience with the tarot cards. And so I'm going to narrate this story in slow motion with what I'm seeing with regards to how the symbolism might be read by a tarot reader. So before you go any farther, just stop, go search up the video and watch it. Once you're done, then come back to this almost 2-minute point in the video and we'll get started. So here, basically what we find is we've got a environment that's a prison, and we have a goat with the mark of the beast on its forehead. This particular goat, if you watch its eyes for a moment, you'll see that it's like a bobblehead, and this bobblehead moves and it's almost hypnotic. So we get this hypnotic feeling from the goat. And it just introduces us to this mass hypnosis that we might be under. We get the name of the video. And the video is I, space pet goat 2. And so here we look at the environment. We notice that this has the resemblance of an electric fence, but not quite, because it's barbed wire. We have snow on the ground, we have wood in the background, and we come into the story. So here we see that there's someone with blood on their hands. The symbol that we get up on the top is what would initially be a snake. We've got a dot and an S, but it almost looks like a dollar sign. It makes me think that there's money. It's gold colored. And we've got, rather than wood, we've got metal as a puppeteer. So there's somebody pulling the strings. And when we see there's somebody behind the fact pulling the strings, we have a dunce. That's playing that role. And everybody knows this particular role. So we have ex-president in this role in a classroom, putting on a dance. Notice over here on the side, we have the teacher. I'd like to know if anybody out there can picture this face. Who is this person that's watching? As we have the dance going on here. We've got what looks like heads of students, so we're in the crowd. We have love in the background here. We have a heart. We have a dragon. We have the mind. We have an F. We have demonic action, fire in a house, along with a shark. We have symbols on the top here that take us into, we have a map. On maps, we have targets on the map. With the map, generally you put a target on a map of some place where you've been. When you watched this video, you found that this particular scene they're acting out is the Fool Me Once famous skit that JW did. Up on the top here, notice on the top too that we have the enlightenment of man, we have the evolution of man to an aura here, and the time is 12 o'clock. We have love backwards, we have the hangman, we have that basically that the game, it looks like the game is lost. because the hangman's already hung, even though we haven't completely filled out all the words, or we have blank spots. So as we go a little bit deeper into this, what do we see? We have snowflakes on the wall. So here we have a curious teacher, but it's like they're playing along. It's as if she kind of knows what's going on, but she doesn't really want to admit it. She gets pointed out. He's pointing out to the crowd. It's as if he's trying to lay blame on somebody else. Here, this image of the mind has it to where the two hemispheres of the mind are split, as being rational and irrational are not connected. People see this as demonic. As if there's a struggle. And then instantly we change. So here we have the next evil overlord, and we get a wink. This wink tells us that he knows the secrets. There's some deep secret, and then immediately it turns feminine here. Immediately it's a classic, I won, I'm the perfect person, as if it's gone feminine, as if there's a secret. And then immediately we get the teleprompter. The teleprompter is at 101. In binary, this would be 5, or simply there's probably a symbol associated with this. There could be a planetary symbol. There could be something astrological here. In the background, we have the dragon being consumed by the intellect, whereas we have the heart over here as simply being. And as we move through this, notice the floor is checkered, and we go to the next scene. So this next scene is, it's as if she's trapped. There's a circle around her that's trapped her. There's a little bit of evidence of it being outside the circle, but all this back here is all like no-name. They sit in postures of children. It's as if there's a whole bunch of no-name children that are going on here. They're strung in the barbed wire, which shows that they are imprisoned. They're not able to show themselves. They're hidden. This figurine here is as if it's an Alice in Wonderland type of situation. We have the rabbit in the background. We have a deer in the background. We have a lily in the background. The lily represents, from the tarot cards, would be fertility. It would be sex. It'd be lots of sexual energy. The bunny represents the breeding, and the bunny can also represent the fear that basically when the bunny's scared, the bunny will freeze as its defense and pretend to hide in plain sight, which looks like what's happening right here. The deer in the background is clearly running. Deer are going to hide at every chance they get. They are prey rather than they're food. They are preyed on rather than being the predator. But she takes on the Alice in Wonderland look here, and she carries the apple. It's almost as if she's Eve, or if there's a resemblance here to any famous people. The first name that came to mind would be Ivanka Trump, and she holds the apple. The apple is representative of the good and evil. It is the fruit of wisdom. It is something that, it's the forbidden fruit. And here it rolls out, and notice when it comes over, it rolls over a couple letters. I'm not sure what the letters mean yet, but it's as if there's a wormhole in this apple, as if it's not pure. And then when it stops against a boot. And under the boot, there's a gold coin. This looks like a gold coin. It has a cross on it of some sort. It has a circle. It's almost like a target. Here, the next thing is from this forbidden fruit, we have the dichotomy, which could be the male and the female come together, and we get the blossoming divinity. So here we have a lotus petal. The lotus petal, pink lotus petal, is going to be the lotus petal of love. It is divinity. It is a higher energy. It is what we attain to. It's what we want to get to. This would be representative of energy. It'd be purity. From the pinker colors would be the lower chakras. Here, From that divinity, we come back to the image of Obama, who now is sweating bullets. And we take that the step further, since we're in slow-mo, and we step outside of this school. We see a reflection in the window, and as if it's not accepted in the school, on the left-hand side, we see Psalms 23, which is the Lord's Prayer. And it's graffiti on the outside of the building as if it's not let in. Again, we have the clock at 12 o'clock, we have the flag ripped in half as if the United States has been divided. There's two parts. It's as if it's been split. We see a winter scene. In the background, it's as if it's a big wall of ice. It almost looks like images that you would see from Antarctica. We see that the school's in a prison. So whoever's in the prison is tied in. Whoever's pulling the strings has everybody entrapped inside the matrix, inside the prison. There's lots of emotion around from the water. In the background, we see the resemblance of the Twin Towers, but we see it as two naked people. One on the left, they're facing each other, and you can see that there's heels off in the background, arms reaching up, burning from the shoulders, as the charade, as the puppeteer plays here. And then as we pull out a little ways, notice we're dark, and it's a cavern. We're inside of someplace. Here, we get a dancing, what looks like a Mayan. We have a skeleton who basically is open and leaps, showing that we've taken the leap. We've now just transpired. We've gone from the underworld. We're going through a transformation right now, as if we're going to the spirit world. We now find an Egyptian god, the symbol of a god. With big ears, we find that this is like a raft. Boats tend to carry people. They keep people afloat. They're going to allow for people moving. Now we get a point where we have somebody standing. We have a humanoid. Could be peace signals on the back of its calves. We now go back into the underworld. We're back into the dark world. And in the dark world, we see an army, and we see a leader of an army. Here, as we zoom down to that leader of the army, we see that it's Osama bin Laden, and on his chest he has a emblem of the CIA. If you go look up that symbol, you'll see it's pretty clear. In the background, there are cones for soldiers holding things that look like guns. In the background, we have, go step back for that, we have a blood moon here. We have an eclipse. At least that's what it would look like to me. We'll keep going with this. We also have a symbol here. I'm not sure what that means yet. Then we go to this scene of what looks like is a prick, a wound, as if the blood of the earth is being scarred here. We drip in, we get the oil stain across the surface. We transition back into the underworld, and we see that we have what looks like the Statue of Liberty being supported by the Star of David, as if there's some type of as if it's controlled there. Here, again, on the top, we have 5 points on the crown, as if there's another one hidden. Now we're going to the embryo. So now we have the life. We have the essence of life that the serpent is wrapping around and watching. And now we're introduced to this other symbol. So take a look here in the background. Notice we have this, what looks like a TV screen, an eye, an all-seeing eye, that is looking at this embryo. And notice the ABC. We've got words in the background. We have the feeling around this is money. This is the type of symbolism that we would see on the dollar bill, or we would see on the greenback. We have the serpent here, which is connected to this. So we'll go a little bit further with it. We can clearly see the head of the serpent. We go back to this transition phase. So we're going back out of this world. We now see, we pierce this to go to, we see a human. So now we see the flame in the heart. We see this represents the aborigine, the primal urges within the people. We've got painted on tattoos. But it's foggy. The eyes are closed. It's as if there's a trance going on here. We've got barbed wire around the head. We've got the all-seeing eye painted on, but it's as if they're sleepwalking. And it's as if they're tormented. They're tormented by this entity, this talking head on TV. The talking head on TV has the essence of being a genie that's able to transform things. There's symbolism on the chin with regards to this genie. It's almost as if the all-seeing eye is upside down. This genie has control. This person seems to represent someone in pain. They're medicated. So in this case, as if they're over-medicated, there's someone's in his head. Can't get it out of his head. There's one tooth on this genie. I'm not sure what the symbolism of a single tooth, but the single tooth is on the same side as a single earring. This person is under the trance of the TV. We get to see markets. We get to see market purge. We get to see the wars. We get to see all the fear-based entities. We get to see the triangle, the B-1 bombers. And then we take a stop here for a second and notice, let's go back for this a second. As they fly across, and we notice the temple here. So this particular temple, we would want to look and see exactly what temple this is. What is it? Because this is definitely not Western. To me, it looks like something you would see in Jerusalem or in Palestine, some area that would represent a core of Christianity, Roman Catholic, something that affects. Seems like the Jesus figure that we had earlier would be tied to this. It's not the West. The West is over here. There's other cities down here that we clearly see. There's 5 explosions. There's 5 clear pillars. The capsule, as the top of the temple implodes, the Watcher, the crows, the ravens are released. The ravens would see, and they're going to basically show us of the transformation. So here we're back to the person, and we now have the butterfly that lands on the finger of this person. Butterflies in the tarot cards are going to represent transformations. They go from the cocoon to flight. They go from crawling to flight. It's a radical transformation. It's something that you can't go back from. You are going to transition. Here we see the burning heart. Now, with the burning heart, we go back to the dancing Mayan. We go back to, and immediately it bows to this situation. Notice we have what is a perfume bottle that seems to be giving off an essence in the background, and we have this younger one that looks to have been poisoned or died from this bad energy. We have what is a nuclear mushroom that had come out of this. This looks like a dung beetle, a toxic beetle of some sort. We have a black eye on this child. We show that there's death, and at the same time, lots of blood, which then transitions to this particular scene. This particular scene here shows what appears to be a man. Underwear would indicate that it's a man. We have the skull and crossbones tattooed on the arm. We have the gun for the child here. But the child, the younger person, clearly looks to be feminine, has a necklace. We have scars, and then this looks like a mask on the face of this child. And the expression on this child, as the child gets unwrapped, it's as if the essence of shutting down comes across from the face of this child. The light flickers in this child as it gets unwrapped, and it goes out. Then that essence of the lily floats down to what we see as a hammer and a sickle on this being that is trapped in the goo, scared of the goo. There's fear in this hammer and sickle person. We have a tattoo across the arm. This tattoo, we should look that up. It looks like if you zoom in on that tattoo, we should be, I believe that it's a mineral, and it's a mineral that leads me to believe that there's some essence that we need to investigate here. We'll continue with this. It takes us into what looks like into the belly of the beast. These look like ribs. These look like we're in the inside of this beast. We have tanks, and we have a green light on the front tank. We have the war mouth along with the surrender. We have some entity coming up here, and clearly feminine, which is the crouching tiger. We have a Asian influence on this. We have the skeleton in the background. So this is clearly, we have no radiation, we have love. We have somebody here that wants to have the surrender, as if it's coming from the Asian background. But she looks at this, what looks like it could be part of the puppeteer. That's basically would be saying, no, we have a show to put on. There is something I need to show you at this point. Now we go back to the person that's still in a trance. The fire at the feet, there's fire at the feet, there's fire at the heart. We're still being carried along in this boat. There's still a transition phase. And we see we see the back, which is clearly Egyptian influence. What does this person want to say? This clearly a torment. It's not quite the puppet, but it's as if it's controlled by the TV. So here we're back into this person's trying to get up, is in torment. There's still agony in the face here. There is the genie that won't give up. The snake is still coiled within the population. It's as if Humpty Dumpty can't put himself back together again. But we now have the chariot from the gods, which comes with, we now come from the chariot of the gods, so we have wings in here. We have this same being that's in the trance, as if he's going to wake up from the cosmos. There's cosmotic energy. There's energy from the cosmos coming in here. And he breathes the fire of transformation. So now it blows across the screen, and it shows coming out in front of him, and we have this here, which to me is it's as if it's like, it shows here as if we're in a mouth. We'll pause here for a second. It's as if we're in the mouth. That is a light in the background. If you were to look in a mouth, you would see the tonsils in somebody. If you were to go deeper, you would find that this could be the light inside somebody. This could be the pituitary gland. And at the same time, we have the being of fire being carted on this boat with the halo around it. So the transformation's getting deeper here. The fire has been ignited. The intuitive capabilities of people have been ignited. We now have lots of energy. We have power behind this that now engulfs the area. And as it engulfs the area, we start to see that the structures of ice are now starting to fall. Things are falling apart. This transformation is going on. And now we're back to, we have fire in the background. We have this dancing entity, and it turns out to be, who is this dancing entity? It looks to be Shiva. It looks to be Kali, I guess it could be. It is the god of destruction. It is the god of transformation. It is Indian. It is clearly has the fire of transformation in the background. It's clearly aware, but it's caged. Now we come back to the entity here, and the school of fish. So now we find lots and lots of followers that come into the equation here. All these followers, they almost look like angelfish jumping into the boat. And then when we look at all of these particular angelfish that have jumped in, it's as if there's a whole bunch of people or entities that have come to join in. In the background, we have a beam of light. We have a second beam of light. We have the cracking of the structure, and then we have a flash. If you take a look closely here, this looks like a giant. We have a knee here. We have what looks like a giant penis. And we have from above, we have the divine hand that opens, shines a light on this, which we get to come in and see. We now see that this structure has a cross on top. It looks like a love palace. There looks like there's some type of writing on the side here. We have, as we go closer, we can clearly see that this is a tower, and there's an old woman in this tower. We have the old witch. She looks out. She's looking down. She's looking around. And the tower is crumbling. So here, this tower that this old woman lives in is falling apart. And she doesn't seem to be happy with it. There's light that she scurries away from. She's got a wand. It's as if she has the wand here to protect herself, but she's clearly naked. She's clearly exposed. In the background, we have what looks like tallies. It looks like a prison. This is a prison, simple bunk bed, or simple bed. We look across this and there's light. She's scurrying from the light. She doesn't want to be exposed. Here, clearly see that she's been there for a long time, and we have trying to protect herself from the light. We have the blood is gone, and we now transition to what looks like a birthing scene. So above, notice above here, we have this flower, these petals that occur. We have the DNA strand, we have the birthing, we have the collapsing that's happening all around us. And so now we have this entity that's on this boat that is coming forth with the school of fish, flashing back now to the destruction, the dance of the destruction. So now we can clearly see the cage here. We can clearly see that as the dance of the destruction goes on, now we go to what looks like the terracotta soldiers from China. And all of these have briefcases as if they are part of the matrix. And we have the transformation being coming through and shedding this veil that is around it. And we now see a shattering into dust of what it is of the illusion. We see an opening in the heart of this being. We basically see expansion. We have the transformation is still occurring. It's still not complete. And AB chaos, this entity, the media, scurries away. The top of the head is here of that same being. So the control of the population has been lifted. This being can now get up. We no longer have the drugs around it. And we wonder, what is in the eyes of this being? It looks like it can finally see. It steps forth. But in the background, there's still this orchestra being run. The skeleton is still running things. We have the sacrifice, and notice here we have with this particular being as it comes out. This is the same sacrifice child. That child that was in the sacrificial explosion is being lifted up again. And as it is, this time it's as if it's rising from the dead. And here in the background we have a full moon, but it's not quite a moon. This isn't quite a moon. This is as if there's another planet involved. If we were to look at the moon, there'd be elements of the moon that would clearly stand out. This is different. And so we have it in white. We have that orb in white in the background. But it could still be a full moon. We'll read it as a full moon. Then we look at the scene here. We have western scene. We have coming out of, this looks like the temple that it was in. So it's coming out of the top of this temple that was destroyed. We have the western entity here. As we move on a little bit farther, we're going to still find those statues that were associated with the explosion that happened inside this temple that exposes this. Here we have what looks like a city. This looks like the Pentagon in a way. This looks like there's some type of structure in the center of this entity that we get to see here, as if it's a sundial. which then proceeds, and we're back to the dance. Here the heart is lit up in this dance. So the Shiva the Destructor is now turned into a Mayan character. We now have that dragon. We have the duck, or the animal that goes with it. And there's a story to be told here. So as the transformation's happening in the background, water is lifted. So it's going to be some emotion in this. We have the hands of the bear that come into this. So it's as if there's a sleeping bear that comes awake in all this process. The hands go away, we roll through, comes up with a different face. So now we have the bear face, which turns to the crow face, which turns to the crow wings. So now we have the watcher that's involved with this. This story unfolds, and the structure around starts to fall, as if the destruction's continuing, the transformation's happening. There's almost joy in this. Now we go to a gargoyle. We have the shining rainbow in its eyes. The earth shakes and birth happens. So now this entity comes through the opening. And notice out of the water comes the lilies. So there's divine influence in this birth. It quickly scurries away from the birth channel, goes out to see that there's light on the horizon, and we're back to the trance has been broken, the fog has been lifted. The fire is now in the eyes. So we can see that the transformations come all the way up. As we look in the background, we notice that there's a church there, and the birthing hole is at the base of that church. As the eyes open, we also see that the bind that the church has is going to go away, but the scars remain. And as the binds fall, we also see that the structure of the church falls. Notice that it's still in slow motion here. We're still on the boat. But he's looking. Now, at this point, the church has fallen. Now, this entity looks off into the distance. It's moving again. The church is gone. The birthing channel, humanity has come through this. We're moving on now. And when we turn, so the structure of the cold world, the ice world, is crumbled. And this new entity is now looking towards the sun. And notice from the sun, there are waves of energy that have come out of the sun. There's ripples. It's not one ripple, but it's multiple ripples. So I see 3 so far. There's a 4th one coming out right now. So here we see the transformation of the being on the boat is deeper, definitely lit from the bottom, as if it's a Kundalini awakening. We see that the energy, these directed energy coming from the sun, are not missiles. Okay, it is light that is destroying the pyramids, destroying the all-seeing eye, which destroys, which is a fundamental symbol of the dollar. It is a fundamental symbol of the Illuminati. It's a fundamental symbol of the control that has been on Earth for as long as we can remember. It's what the controllers have allowed us to see in our past. But here, as we look, we find more light comes our way from this. I'm going to put this video back into faster speed so that we can see a little bit more at the end. They're not comments coming from the sun, and we're over. This, to me, even the name that they chose here at the end, it corresponds to the tarot card, which would be the Hierophant, which is the church. It is the religious influence. It is the scholarly influence from the scriptures. It is the gatekeeper to the divine. It's as if this whole video came along to show that that the entity on the boat, which is the Jesus figure, it has come along, and there's a transformation going on. He represents humanity is going through a transformation. So with that, what I want is go look at this. And if you have an interpretation that's like this or sees this, feel free to bring out the symbolism that you see right in the comment section. Get a hold of me about it. We can add it to this collection. So anybody that comes along to read this, watch this particular video, will see the extra symbolism that comes along with this. But anyway, I found it very interesting. I don't know. So one of the key things to keep in mind is that when somebody puts something together, it's not necessarily a divine thing, but it's a human interpretation of it. So it's not like reading the tarot cards, but it's as if somebody's trying to pretend to set up a scenario that would be like reading the tarot cards. So definitely keep that as a caveat in how you interpret this particular video. It's not like it was created from the divine, but it may touch you as if it was. In any case, I will leave you with that, and I would love to hear your feelings about this.